Yes, yes, yes. It's Raphael Dawkins. It's the Combat Radio. And today we're looking at the Nate Diaz versus Jorge Masvidal fight, which took place last night or this morning, depending on your location. Send location. Okay. So let's get into it. Masvidal, round one. Masvidal, first and foremost, this was for the UFC's BMF belt. The newly invented belt designed specifically for these guys, these type of guys. And you may say, what does BMF stand for? Well, I'll give you the two words. First two words, bad mother. And the third word, beginning with F, I'll let you ponder on and muse on and see if you can arrive at the correct assessment. Okay, so Jorge Masvidal, the Cuban American, comes out, and Nate Diaz suspects he's going to try to do to him what he did to his previous opponent, Ben Askren, the unbeaten wrestler. He'd been fighting in MMA for probably, over 10 years and had never been beat. Jorge Masvidal comes out, and the first thing he does was the last thing he did. Came out with a flying knee, ran at Ben Askren, jumped in the air, knee cocked, boom, and that was all she wrote. Game changer. Game over. So Nate Diaz was wary of that, was aware of the possibility, and as they came to meet in the middle of the octagon, Diaz took evasive action, kind of jogged over to his left at an angle. Okay, so that was the beginning. So what goes on? What was next? Yeah, avoided the flying knee. Then they moved around a little bit looking for the openings. Both got into a clinch. Knees off the clinch, elbows, left hook, head kick. All of that came from Masvidal. Dropped Nate Diaz. Okay, whilst on the ground, Nate's on his back. Jorge attempts to land blows, but of course now, because Nate Diaz is on his back, he's got his legs. So he's primarily using his legs, long legs at that, to keep Jorge primarily and largely at bay. Okay, so they got back standing position. And Nate Diaz took an elbow from Masvidal. Big right, left, right came from Diaz. Rocked Masvidal. A big right, left, right finished the round. Big for Nate Diaz. But he'd been rocked at least a couple of times in that round. Talking about Nate Diaz. So that was Masvidal's round. Masvidal won the first round. Round two. Masvidal with a left, right. Diaz with a combo. Left, right, left. The pair swap, 2-punch combos. And then a big right. Followed by a right body kick. Drops Nate Diaz. The pair trade punches when Nate gets back up and get into a clinch. And then a barrage of punches from Masvidal. And another body shot as Diaz backing up. They clinch. Masvidal escapes. A standing Kimura and slams Diaz to the ground. Diaz reverses Masvidal. And then Masvidal scrambles back on top. The round finishes with a leg lock attempt by Diaz. Round two, Masvidal's round. Round three, Nice left hook from Diaz. Let me switch up this picture. Nice left hook from Diaz. Body shot. Right hook. Right left. Combo. All from Diaz. So he started the third round big. Okay. Big right from Jorge Masvidal. A body kick. Right, left, right from Diaz. They exchange jabs. Body kick from Jorge Masvidal. Right, left, right. Again from Jorge Masvidal. Right, left, right. And then finishes it by a left. By Masvidal. Constant exchanging of combos. Clinch. Ground game. Masvidal on top. Masvidal finishes with a flurry against the ring, or rather against the run of play. Sorry, some of those combinations I just mentioned were actually coming from Diaz. This was Diaz's best round, full of right, left, right combos. Would go to a right to the body, left to the head, right to the head. That was Diaz's best round. So I gave that round to him. At the end of the third round, Diaz was left with 2 deep gashes in his face. Here we are. 2 deep gashes. The doctor came in, looked at the damage. Diaz said, no, I'm fine. The doctor says, okay. Walks away, walks to the ref and says, the fight is off. And the consequence of that was that Jorge Masvidal was awarded the first recipient of the UFC's BMF belt. I know some of you are still trying to work out what the BMF stands for. Bad mother. Okay, and the belt was awarded, wrapped around his waist by none other than Dwayne Johnson, aka The Rock. Okay, so a little bit of controversy. The crowd booed vehemently and incessantly. And we see this tweet here from Ariel Helwani, a highly respected MMA journalist. And he wrote, Tyson Fury went 12 rounds with these cuts, needed 47 stitches. Were Nathan Diaz's worse? Well, let me address that. But firstly, if Otto Wallin had those cuts, the fight would have been called off ASAP. So just because they let Tyson Fury fight on with cuts which really should probably have meant the end of the fight. Just because they let Tyson Fury fight on with those cuts, it doesn't mean that should set some kind of precedent. It doesn't mean you should let fighters carry on with bad cuts like the ones we see before us. Were they worse? I don't know. I think they're kind of parallel. Although I could argue that Nate Diaz's were worse because Fury's was further away from the eye. Nate Diaz, the big one that is, Nate Diaz was right on the lid. It could have just come down a little bit further and that whole stretch of skin would have just been hanging off. So yeah, I would say this one cut was arguably worse, but that's irrelevant to me. The cut is bad. The fight should get waved off to protect the fighter. Gotta think about the future. Although Nate Diaz cuts in every fight, seems to have skin the thickness of Rizzler paper. Very, very thin skin. Sometimes you gotta protect these guys from themselves. So the fight was waved off. Nate Diaz was coming back into the fight, yes. But to be honest, Jorge Masvidal seemed the more dominant of the two. So, even though I gave Nate the third round, overall, Jorge Masvidal was the more imposing of the two, the more imposing fighter of the two. And I don't have any problem with his victory. He cut Nate Diaz. He dropped him at least 2 times, maybe 3. He was the dominant fighter, and now he is the UFC's first official BMF belt holder. What say you? It's the Raphael Dawkins, it's the Combat Radio, it's the like, it's the subscribe, it's the comment, it's the shares, and it is the hitting that bell icon to stay updated with news and notifications. And I'm out.